Call me bad because I've been influenced. Bad influencer had me at the edge of my seat. Because what is this? This is what they mean when they say bad decisions make good stories. Because all these characters are act now, logic later. And I was thoroughly entertained. I started watching Bad Influencer fully expecting to be disappointed, but I am pleased to say that I was pleasantly surprised. Bad Influencer is about BK, a struggling single mother who makes dupes of luxury branded bags. On a recon mission at a luxury store, she meets Binky, an influencer also known as Queen Binks, who is being an absolute brat because no one is taking her seriously at the store. BK makes quick work of her by telling her that her Louis is fake when they get into a spat over the saleswoman being partial to BK, who looks like she can actually afford the bags. BK was actually on this recon mission to check out all the intricate details of these bags so that her dupes look more realistic. BK is in a partnership with Tandy, who is her connect to the rich Joburg housewives. BK's struggles might actually rival a Tyler Perry single mother. Her child, Leo, is on the spectrum and is being bullied at school, so she needs $200K to get her child into a special school. And by selling these bags, she can finally afford that. She goes to a housewife's gossip sesh. She starts touting that her bags are pre-owned by some rich woman that these women seem to admire or aspire to be. But one woman clocks her and she's discovered to be a fraud. They call security on her and threaten to call the police. She escapes because the guards are incompetent, but she's lost almost all her stock except one bag. She has no stock to sell, even if she tries to sell elsewhere, and she owes a loan shark, Becky with the good hair, money that she used to buy the stock to make the dupes that she lost, and he's here to collect. And maybe I'm dense, but something didn't make sense to me about BK's housewife socialist brunch sales meeting, because it didn't seem like a first, and they said that she could make $200K from that meeting only. So if this is not the first time that she's doing this type of sale, and they usually make $200K, or if I'm lowballing it, $100K a meeting, it makes no sense that BK is as broke as she is and is also in debt to buy the stock when she makes that kind of money. And BK is not living the high life by any means. She's living a very frugal life, if we're being respectful. So she should not be in so much debt. But yeah, she owes Becky with the good hair 10,000 rands. And since her connect is blown, BK can't really sell to the housewives anymore and has to find a new client base. She gets into contact with Queen Binks, who is also not having a great time because her bag is a very obvious fake. I don't know how she didn't notice, or how anyone in her influencer circle also didn't notice, and I don't know anything about bags. But yeah, if you would ask me anything about Queen Binks' Louis, I would say that it was 150 at Small Street because it's horrible. She confronts her blesser for playing in her face and buying her that horrible bag. But he's not really engaging because he doesn't want his wife to know about Binky. She throws a fit, scratches his car, and storms off. But the blesser is not one to be played with because he pulls her funding since she's acting like a brat. And she has no choice but to link up with BK because she has no one to fall back on. Her friends can't help. Her mother has cut her off. And they come up with a plan. BK is going to be the one-woman workforce who's going to be making the bags. And Binky is going to be the talent that brings in the client base. Binky wants $5K for a photo shoot because she's an expensive girl with expensive tastes that would not be able to spot a fake even if it hit her in the face. She books a hotel with her friend, Laz, for the photo shoot, buys some expensive champagne, some clothes, and then goes out drinking with her friends to spend the rest of the money. And I don't want to lie, every time Binky got a cent and she went to spend it with her friends, I got so mad. Because this girl never learns. These people show her many times that they are not her friends. But once she gets a rand in her bank account, she has to spend it with them. BK discovers that Binky is out living it up with her buck. So she goes to the club to confront her. Binky laughs in her face and says that she scammed BK. So BK runs away with her phone and is luckily able to get in contact with a buyer who's willing to buy the bag for 30K. A car chase ensues, BK being chased by Binky and her friend Laz, and Becky with the good hair and his friend are also in pursuit. She exchanges the bag for the 30K, but before her and Binky can sort things out, Becky with the good hair and his friend/business partner arrive and start threatening them at gunpoint. They take all the 30K, even though Becky's money is only 15K. Now all is lost. They're back to square one. Binky is too spooked to cooperate. BK's child, Leo, is into astronomy and she almost runs over the sky. Temba, who also happens to be the astronomy teacher, and they have the most stereotypical meet cute. And Temba also happens to have one of the most easily clockable glued on haircuts. And if that happens to be the actor's real hair, I am very sorry, but it can't be. It can't be. It has to be glued on. It looks like one of those Afro extension fade paste on haircuts because there's no way that it's real. Binky is in trouble since her funds were cut. She doesn't have a place to live, so she goes to her friends to ask for a place to live, but they can't really provide her with one because they're not really her friends. And I look crazy because I'm yelling at the screen that these girls are not her real friends. And it's even crazier that these girls always meet at the club or outside. She ends up going to BK because that's her only option apparently. And they start planning to make more money. And she reveals that her blesser used to give her 70K a month, so she can't be caught dead in anything cheap looking or cheap. But the girl was carrying a 150 Rand Louis a day ago and no one clocked it. And it also makes no sense that Binky receives a 70K a month allowance and is dirt broke the instant this man dumps her. This show seems a bit arbitrary with its large amounts of money because, girl, how are you broke when you have 70K expendable income monthly and had all your expenses paid on top of that? But you're broke the next day. And then there's Kay, who I'm not even sure how she's broke and in debt when she was making 200K in sales. And I'm sure that car and that house she's living in don't even put a dent in 200K. And then there's Leo's school. Is it 200K a year or 200K a month? And why do you need this 200K upfront if it's 200K a year and not 200K a month? Which makes no sense because go what? In this economy, in this South Africa, which is not really a critique of the show because it's really good. It's just that they're just too free with their numbers and it's stressing me out. And with Binky, I can justify her being broke a day later because she spends her money like crazy. So the show gives me an answer to her brokenness. But for BK, it makes no sense because with the randellas you're making and the lifestyle you're living, it makes no sense for you to be broke after just one bad sale. But yeah, the girls are teaming up for real this time and they go to this place called the Tower, which is where it's at if you're looking for some dudes. They meet this guy, Fungai, who's gonna sell them what they need because BK needs some really high-end looking dupes for the hardware of the bags, but too bad for them. The towers gets raided by the police led by Temba, the astronomy teacher, and they get arrested. And I was gooped. I didn't know you could get arrested for buying fakes. But Temba, the spaceman, is able to pull some strings to get them released. Since the towers was a bust and they still need to get the hardware for the bags, they get in contact with Becky with the good hair, which I would never, after he had me at gunpoint and took my money. But this is not me. This is BK and Binky, and they're not known for making good choices. He introduces them to a guy called Alex, who was the supplier of the towers and now has all the stock and nowhere to sell. So the dealers, Alex is going to give them his stock and they're just going to gut the bags, take the hardware, make new bags, and resell and pay him his money. He's not really sold because he's used to selling his bags in bulks to the people at the towers and they only want 50 bag, which is peanuts for a man like him. So he refuses and starts threatening them, which is crazy to me. We're dealing with crazy people. But Becky tells Alex about the potential in partnering up with the ladies because they can sell one bag for 30K. So he agrees to the partnership, but wants a higher cut of the money than was anticipated. But he has them at gunpoint, so they agree because what choice do they really have? They start business. Binky starts posting the bags. Sales are coming in. She goes to an influencer event, has a meltdown, and ends up being booked for a brand deal. BK is robbed by Alex. Shocker, I know, right? Who wants to sabotage them and make them more indebted to him so he can control them and get a higher cut. BK goes to Alex's headquarters, which look absolutely deplorable, to give him his cut and explain to him why he's getting the amount he's getting. He tries to threaten her into giving him more money, but she doesn't play that game with him and walks out. But the elevator malfunctions, which is expected. I don't even know how this elevator was still functioning. And she finds Fungai, her guy from the towers, who is being held hostage by Alex because he's working for the police to try and bring down Alex and his gang. So Alex's boss wanted Alex to find the mole and get rid of him so that they can start selling again. Alex owes his supplier/boss 4 million rand for the stock that he can't even sell. BK tries to help Fungai by freeing, but is discovered when her phone starts ringing. And I don't like to brag, but the phone ringing when sneaking thing will never happen to me because my phone is always on silent, which is not good for everyday life, but I'm sorted if I'm ever sneaking. He threatens BK. A few days later, the police and special agent astronomer Temba discover Fungai's body at a landfill with snitch carved on his forehead. And I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be taking this seriously, but the word snitch is just too long to be carved on someone's forehead. It's just a waste of everyone's time because it's not legible. And what self-respecting criminal wants to send an illegible message? At the brand event for her brand deal, Binky meets her idol, Naomi, who's a former Miss South Africa and influencer with 10 million followers, who cuts into her when Binky tries to steal a photo of her at the event. And I don't know about you, but Naomi can read a bitch. Fly Esfebe. New words were invented that day. Words that had never been put together before were put together to drag Binky's ass to hell and back. And it ends with Binky being pushed into a pool. And maybe I'm too basic, but the girls were just doing too much. And I get it. They had to dress to impress, and I was living. But you certainly don't need to wear a gown or the dresses that they were wearing to stand next to a pool decorated with fairy lights and drink champagne. I mean, cocktail dresses could have done the job if you wanted to be fancy, but the dresses with corsets, boning, structured shoulders, and rhinestones was just doing too much. Binky starts trending after this event for all the wrong reasons and is dropped by the brand. Everyone on the internet is making fun of her, side-eyeing her for selling fake bags. So she can't really sell the bags anymore. The jig is up. Everyone thinks the bags are fake, which I understand. What I don't understand is that everyone is making fun of Binky when she was being bullied by Naomi, which was Naomi basically punching down because Binky doesn't even have a fifth of Naomi's followers. And I know that people on the internet are deplorable, but one thing that we love to do is to eat the rich. And what Naomi did with Binky would never fly. Because as much as we love a come-up story, we love a fall from grace. Binky is hemorrhaging followers, and she's the internet's laughing stock and punching bag, which means business is closed for them because they can't sell. Alex threatens BK to continue working by threatening her son and says that he wants 1 million in a month. So she agrees, because what other choice does she have? He forces her to move her work into his headquarters so he can keep an eye on her. And he wants to expand the workforce so that they can make and sell more bags. But they can't really do that since Binky is persona non grata to the internet. So they do the usual crime drama sneaky thing by stealing Naomi's phone and getting some info on her that can her with help from BK's old boss and his partner, who have also joined the gang. They get the hotel that Les works at to close down for a day so that they can hold a special event for Naomi. so that they can steal her phone, get some dodgy info on her to expose her on the internet through an account called Mughal Slay. Mughal Slay does an expose on Naomi, which leads to overnight stardom and her influence and followers rocketing up. They start selling bags and they make bank. Everyone is living the high life. They're getting money. BK enrolls Leo at the special school. Alex is able to pay his boss. BK can have her cake and eat it because she's making bank and also dating Special Agent Astronomer Temba. Binky is rich but unfulfilled because she needs the social media validation. Or what is she even living for? What is she making this money for? Because the validation she gets from her friends is not enough because all they can talk about is Mughal Slay. She's jealous and it's unbecoming. Alex likes BK and wants to date her. So he gets her a Rolex, but she's not really into it because he's dangerous and a criminal. Binky is jealous because BK doesn't really want her to interact with Alex because Alex is dangerous. In case any of you forgot, because Binky seemingly has, she doesn't understand why BK can meet up with him when she can't if he's that dangerous. She's spiraling and moves out of BK's place to live at a hotel, which is illogical. But yeah, the girl is not known for her logic. BK goes out with Alex, which makes no sense to me, but go off girl, and sees Tandy, her old plug. They get into a fight. Alex joins in because he's a hooligan in case you forgot. Naomi reports Binky to the police for being Mughal Slay and selling fakes, which causes Special Agent Astronomer to start looking into Binky. She denies everything and goes to confront BK about this. Because BK took keep your friends close but your enemies closer to another level by dating the police officer that's investigating her. Leo, BK's child, overhears the whole confrontation, and because Binky has no common sense, she decides to go out with Alex and ends up spilling the beans on BK and Special Agent Astronomer Temba, which had me reeling because, girl, why are you cozying up with a criminal that had you at gunpoint the first day you met him? Why is it not clicking to you that this man is dangerous? And I didn't even think that this had to be said, but there are things that we should not be telling the dangerous man that is basically holding us hostage and making us work for him because it's dangerous and we are dealing with dangerous people. Is not being ruled by logic or reason because no one in their right mind would think that hooking up with that man is a good idea. Nothing about that man says hook up with me. So he holds her hostage because why not? He's dangerous and a criminal, which I didn't think had to be said. BK receives an urgent call from Alex when she's at her child's astronomy show and tell. Has to leave to deal with Binky's mess. Alex is mad and starts threatening to kill them and Special Agent Astronomer Temba through a car accident, which complicates things because Leo is in the car with Special Agent Astronomer Temba. Leo confesses everything to Special Agent Temba about Mughal Slay, his mother, and Binky. They get hit by a truck. There's a shootout. The criminals escape. Leo is injured badly and is in the hospital in an induced coma. Binky and BK get arrested because of Leo's confession. Les and Binky's boss and his partner are also arrested because they're implicated in the crime. They cut a deal with the police to get them Alex and Alex's boss for immunity. Alex's boss wants 5 million rands from BK and Alex. Alex shot Becky with the good hair's partner after he was incited by BK, who was being threatened by Becky with the good hair. So Becky decided to go over Alex and start working for Alex's boss as a way to get revenge on BK and Alex. It's complicated. So they're on a time crunch because Alex's boss wants his money and holds Alex and BK hostage. BK is able to save herself and Alex by promising this guy money. They're going to hold an auction, which is going to be a partnership between Mughal Slay and the champagne brand that was sponsoring Binky and is now sponsoring Mughal Slay, and make the 5 million rand that the boss wants. The event is a success. Besides a minor setback from Naomi, they get their 5 million rand, but Alex finds out that they're working with the police because there's an idiot police officer who's guarding Leo at the hospital. One of Alex's guys kidnaps Leo from the hospital. Alex holds BK hostage and takes her with him to meet his boss. They're able to give the boss his money, but Becky with the good hair is there and he wants revenge on Alex and BK for getting his partner killed. BK pleads for her life. Alex is shot. Becky with the good hair is shot. Special Agent Astronomer Timber is able to save Leo, who has had a miraculous recovery because in a week he has managed to recover from having his brain swell and start running. The police go to where BK is being held hostage, where she's cutting a deal with Alex's boss to make him more money if he spares her life. The police storm in through one entrance and don't surround the place because they're idiots and everyone there is dumb, and the criminals are able to escape through another entrance. BK is arrested and goes to prison. Binky, Liz, and Binky's boss and his partner are saved from going to prison. Binky is going to take care of Leo while BK is in prison, and it ends with BK being contacted by Alex's boss to make him more money. And Bad Influencer was a really good show. It's a well-constructed crime drama, but it's rage bait central because some bottom-tier decision-making is taking place here. No one uses their brains. None of these people actually use their brains because BK and Binky, why are you cozying up to these criminals? And then there's the police incompetence. Why was the building not surrounded when you knew that some criminals were inside? Why did they have to use one entrance to get into the building? Like, why was no one thinking with their heads? And the characters, for all my complaints, were good, well written, and they make sense in this world. They were good, they were entertaining, and I never want to meet any of them. Naomi is horrible, but go diva. Binky does not use her brain much, but slay sister. BK uses her brain, but she's suffering because no one around her is using their brain. So her brain is sometimes doing double, triple duty. She's slacking, but she's a real one. And she was going through a lot through this whole show. So I can understand her low logic decision making because she's under pressure and has to think on her feet a lot of the time. And crime is a very slippery slope. She was in deep. I am a BK sympathizer, but I would never give her a pardon. My sister was in the fast life, and I am afraid we gatekeeped, gaslit, and girl-bossed our way to space. But we bad bitched a little close to the sun, and like Icarus, that crash landing back to Earth was hard.